Lena Voss turned her back to the pale dawn, as if the chill could be shrugged off like a persistent hound. Her ranch sprawled across the shallow valley, patchwork fields, thorny mesquite, a weathered corral, and a house with a slumping porch where 3 generations had watched the sun climb and fall. For decades, Lena had been its backbone, patching fences at first light, taming a fiery gelding, reading the sky's moods in its hues. Once the ranch was a name etched on cattle brands, a cornerstone of the region. Now it was a line in a banker's ledger, reduced to figures that sounded like a sentence. A letter had arrived a month prior, its stark blue seal twisting her gut each time she recalled it. 3 weeks, it declared in cold type. Pay the debt or face auction. She kept the notice tucked under a flour sack, as if hiding it dulled its truth. Hiding changed nothing. The herd was already culled, sold off in chunks until the corral stood nearly bare, the branding irons silent on their hooks. The truck she'd once trusted sat under the shed, its engine a relic. No kin or favors remained to call upon. Lena, 58, had learned endurance from hands that smelled of sage and sweat, a skill honed to the edge of sorrow. Her joints ached in the cold, and the dawn no longer seemed to greet her. Yet she rose each morning, checking troughs, measuring grain, nudging a reluctant calf to feed. Routine held chaos at bay. Evenings, she sat by the hearth, staring at the letter until shadows deepened and the dogs curled into uneasy rest. Some nights she imagined handing over the keys, walking away to preserve her pride. Others, she rejected that vision with a quiet, fierce resolve as steady as a good mare. A storm roared in without warning, carrying the scent of iron and distant rivers. Though the sea was days away, rain battered the roof like hammers, waking Lena to a house alive with creaks and groans. She listened to the wind's howl, the trees bending low, the tin shed rattling in protest. By morning, the fields were a sodden wound, the air sharp and new. Mud caking her boots, Lena spotted a gash in the hillside where a shallow gully had been the night before. Rain had peeled back the earth, revealing a jagged black hollow at the edge of the arroyo. Cold air rose from it, metallic, heavy with the smell of secrets long buried. Lena stood, feeling a pull in her chest like a needle swinging north. Sense told her to walk away. Sinkholes had claimed men and machines here before. Town offered work, steady if soul-crushing. But the dark mouth wasn't just danger. It was possibility. A secret the ranch had held for generations. She gathered a lantern, rope, and her father's old shovel, its handle worn smooth, grounding her more than its steel ever could. The passage twisted sharply. At first, the walls grazed her shoulders if the lantern swung too high. The air thick with wet stone and ash. Deeper, the ceiling vaulted, stalactites casting jagged shadows. Signs of past visitors emerged. A charred fire ring, splintered cedar beams, deliberate scratches on the rock. Kneeling, Lena found a rusted iron rail, half buried in clay, its narrow-gauge tracks fading into the dark. Her pulse quickened. As a girl, she'd heard tales of prospectors chasing glinting veins through these hills, stories that never touched the Voss land. Yet here was proof. Wagon fragments, spikes driven into stone, timbers rotted into dust. Someone had mined here, planning to stay, working a seam now abandoned. Lena surfaced with dirt on her lips, her hands warm from the lantern. The ranch seemed sharper, not diminished but alive, tuned to a new frequency. The debt notice waited on the table, but its weight felt less crushing, edged with defiance. Sleep eluded her, not from fear but from the lantern's glow lingering in her mind. Days later, Lena moved with quiet purpose. She returned to the cave at dawn, then dusk, each trip pushing deeper, clearing earth from a seam hinting at a chamber beyond. The labor was grueling. Her shoulders burned, her hands bled beneath calluses. But each shovel's scrape answered the morning's doubt, steadying her like a heartbeat. In the dark, she wasn't a woman losing her life, but one clawing it back. On a brittle Wednesday, her shovel struck something not stone, a dull glint, then a flat iron edge. She uncovered a chest, its lid heavy and sealed, built to guard secrets. Prying it open, her hands shook not from effort, but from what she dared to hope. Inside lay coins and oilcloth, bars gleaming like creek silt and brittle papers tied with twine. Lena's fingers hesitated above the gold as if it might burn. The papers, ledgers, deeds, maps, spoke of a forgotten company, naming veins beneath her grazing lands, sealed with faded authority. In one day, she held the ranch's salvation. She hid the chest in a thicket near the arroyo, masking it with branches and false hoofprints. The fine burned in her chest, gold was volatile, But the papers were her shield, proof of rights that could stand in court. News spread like frost through the valley, sharp and unstoppable. Neighbors' glances lingered. Men who once nodded politely now sized her up. Riders appeared on the ridge, watching her land like vultures. Curiosity bred questions. Questions turned to offers. Offers hardened into threats. Lena knew gold alone wouldn't save her, only law could. Her father's words echoed, "Hold to the law to stand tall." In town, Clara Holt's law office stood firm, its sign weathered but proud. Clara, a decade Lena's junior, read the papers with steady hands, her calm unshaken. "These are real," she said. "This is a fight we can win, but it'll be hard. We move carefully." Lena trusted her instantly, relief loosening her shoulders. But the world shifted. Men loitered near her fences, pretending to fix posts that stood straight. A man named Silas Ward, lean with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, introduced himself as a valley investor. He lingered, probing about the hills, hinting at trouble for stubborn women. One night, returning from town with notarized copies in her bag, Lena found a lone horse at her corral, its rider gone. Tracks crisscrossed her yard, a gate tampered with. Nothing stolen, but the message was clear, a warning carved in shadows. Sleep grew thin, the rifle now a constant by her bed, its weight more story than weapon. Clara's advice was sharp. Document everything. Gather witnesses. Prove your claim's continuity. Lena complied, filing papers with the county clerk when gossips were absent. Sheriff Amos Tate, a man who'd seen the valley's feuds, listened quietly, warning her of greed's pull. "Folks with nothing will claim your find as theirs," he said. "Stand firm." Filing the claim drew eyes. Strangers rode the ridge at dawn, pausing to stare at her house. Old prospectors muttered in the store about lost mines and rightful shares. One evening, 3 men stood at the arroyo's mouth, torches unlit, claiming to scout pasture. Their eyes betrayed them, flicking to the cave. "Heard you found something, ma'am," one said, his smile sharp. "Best think who that belongs to." Lena's voice was iron. "This is my land. What's here goes through the law, not thieves." They tested her, posturing, but her steady gaze sent them slinking away. The fire came a week later, roused by the dogs barking. Lena grabbed her rifle, stepping into a night thick with smoke. Flames devoured the shed, eating stored hay. She freed the horses, their panicked hooves pounding as the roof collapsed. By dawn, it was ash. Sheriff Tate confirmed arson. Tracks led to the ridge, too many to pin down. "Ward's work," Lena said. Tate didn't argue. "I'll watch closer," he promised. Neighbors rallied, bringing lumber in hands. Amos Tate's son hauled nails. Maria Ruiz fed the crew. Lena worked beside them, her defiance nailed into every beam. A smaller shed rose, enough to shelter her stock. The ranch endured. Ward struck again. A boy, nervous and young, stopped her on the road. "Mr. Ward wants a meeting, noon tomorrow at the Butte." "No tricks, just talk." Lena let him go without a word. Emboldened him. That night, rifle across her knees, she weighed the. Clara agreed. "Take Tate. A witness keeps him honest." At noon, Lena rode out with the sheriff, the Butte stark against the sky. Ward waited with 2 men, his smile wide but cold. "Miss Voss, Sheriff." "Fine day for a chat." Lena cut through. "Speak." Ward's hands spread. "What you've got is too big for one woman. Sell to me. Fair price, you walk away comfortable. I'll handle the trouble." Lena's reply was steel. "This land's not for sale. My family's blood is in it. Take it and you'll face me in the law." Ward's smile slipped. "Pride won't stop bullets, ma'am." They rode off, his threat lingering. The harassment escalated. Tools stolen, fences cut, shots fired from ridges grazing her hat. Lena fired back, not to kill but to warn. Tate patrolled her lines. Maria's sons guarded the arroyo. Clara filed motions, pushing for a swift hearing. The courthouse smelled of wax and old books. Lena sat beside Clara, her coat brushed clean as Ward's city lawyer spun tales of her greed. Clara presented the deeds, maps, and ledgers, each piece a brick in Lena's claim. Judge Evelyn Morse promised a ruling soon. Outside, Ward hissed, "Paper burns, Voss." She met his eyes. "Try me." The night before the ruling, the valley stilled. Lena sat with her rifle, the court summons worn at the edges. At midnight, the dogs growled. 3 men crept toward the shed, torches ready. Lena stepped out, rifle raised. "Stop," one sneered. "You can't guard it forever." A shot grazed her porch. Lena fired, wounding one. The dogs charged, scattering them. Dawn brought neighbors, Tate, and grim news. Ward's hand, no proof. The hearing drew a crowd. Judge Morse ruled, Lena Voss's documents are valid. Provisional mineral rights granted, ranch ownership affirmed. Cheers erupted. Ward stormed out, face dark. That night, Ward's men struck. Gates broken, cattle scattered, a guard beaten. Lena rallied her allies. Tate, Maria, old ranchers, Clara with her unpracticed revolver. They planned to hold the ranch. At 3 a.m., riders charged, torches blazing. Tate's warning shot rang out. Ward's voice roared, "Burn it!" Gunfire erupted. Lena fired steadily, her father's shovel at her side, his words in her heart. Through the chaos, she saw Ward, pistol raised, charging her. Their eyes locked. "End it," she called. He laughed, aiming. Lena's shot dropped him, his horse bolting. His men fled. Dawn revealed a scarred valley. Lena stood, rifle lowered, Ward's body in the dust. Tate nodded. "It's done." Clara's hand steadied her. "You saved it." Lena looked to the hills, the sun rising. "Land remembers who tends it," she whispered. The ranch was hers, by law, by blood, by will. If this tale gripped you, click the next video for another epic western where grit meets destiny. Subscribe and drop a super chat to keep these stories alive. Your support fuels the fight.